Okay, that is ready. And now we will start the Zoom recording.
Recording in progress.
And here we are. Now we are going to play the intro and we will begin.
Great.
I do that because then it's like then it's not like a minute of silence hanging around there.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
It feels more natural.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially when we're live, isn't it?
Welcome to Broadcast Map, the show that covers the world of broadcasting, the Canadian media landscape, sports media, the show's favorite sports teams, as well as news and politics. Here's your host, Ali Musa.
Good afternoon on Tuesday, August the 28th, 2025. We are here and talking about broadcasting. And speaking of the intros, there will be some new intros coming up here starting on September 1st here on the Broadcast Map Network, so stick around for that. And I am joined here, or surprises as we want to call it, we are joined here by broadcaster and podcaster Jenny Bovard. Jenny, first of all, I want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for taking some time here on this Thursday afternoon to join me.
Oh, Ali, it's entirely my pleasure. And I thank you for having me back when I wasn't able to make it last time. I shocked myself and the show didn't go on as I hoped it would.
No, and I think the listeners were wondering what happened to you.
Without giving too much detail.
No, that's kind of a joke.
Oh, but I was under the weather. And, I think in this industry, I always try to push through and, like I said, make the show should go on. But I couldn't do it. So I appreciate you having me back.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw that up yet. I had to tease the listeners somehow.
I did see that. So hopefully they weren't too worried, and hopefully hopefully the wait will have been worth it.
Oh, absolutely. See, we have to find ways to kind of tease the listeners, don't we?
That's right. You got to reel them in somehow.
Oh yeah, just make sure. Yes, I want to make sure you are paying attention out there. So yeah. Was broadcasting your first choice?
This is a big question for me. I'll tell you a little secret that I guess is not too much of a secret anymore. I've told a few people live and in recorded material, but it's not common knowledge. I guess when I was little, I was the kid. And I don't know if other people did this, but something I used to love to do was I would make fake radio shows with my cassette deck. And they were part fake radio show and they were part like parody, comedy, sketch type stuff, all audio. And I would do this with my cassette deck. And I would direct and instruct my friends on what to say when they were playing with me and we were doing that. And so I think it's been sort of in me for a long time. And I dabbled a little bit in acting in school days, but I went to film and television school. I went to college for film and television production, and I never imagined myself as being the one talking into the microphone or being in front of the camera at that time. I wanted to be behind the camera, telling the stories, telling the other people what to do and how to execute things. But I wound up in front of the microphone, in front of the camera, and it's been a great ride.
Yeah, that was my thing too. It's funny. And I know you've been following me for a bit. You know I'm a sports guy.
I know you're a sports guy.
So it'd be funny. So what I would do is I would pretend when I was a kid, I would pretend to do some play by play. It's funny, just by listening, I would pretend to do some play by play, and sometimes even doing post game shows, sometimes even doing like call in shows. Sometimes, so then it sort of hit me that, you know what, if the opportunity, why not do something like that? Why not do something where I'm able to have the conversation? And now I think the unique thing is because technology has allowed for it, it's allowed for me to do that.
Isn't it interesting how, as we age, as we go on in life, we look back at the things we did when we were growing up, and you mentioned that we were playing, and at the time, I'm sure it felt like we were playing, we were having a good time, and that's all that it was about. But really, we were practicing and honing our skills, and here we are. And you make such an awesome point about technology and how it's increased access for not only us, for me as a person with a disability, in terms of access, but I mean anybody can get involved in this industry. Anybody can create a show. Anybody, if they have the drive and they have the passion and hopefully the talent sprinkled in, like you and me.
Yes.
We have the chance to do that with technology now. And when I look back, even when in my film school days, access to that stuff was very expensive and very few and far between.
And see, the thing is too is you don't even need like expensive mixers and expensive equipment either.
No, those are just nice to have. And I'm so with you. When I first started podcasting, when I first started doing my community report type work with AMI way
yes.
back in the day, I didn't invest in the nicest microphone and the mixer. I went and got something that would work well and sound decent. And for a time, I recorded my podcast from inside a cardboard box, literally on top of my desk. I had a cardboard box, a big fuzzy blanket. It would get hot in there in the summer. But once I realized, and you probably feel this too, Ollie, is like once you do it for a while and you realize, hey, this is really becoming a thing. I've got people listening. You really want to, well, for me, I can speak for myself. I wanted to up the ante and really, I don't know, really increase the quality of what I'm putting out there. And so I'm someone who I'm really particular about how things sound and all of that. And I think you can probably relate to that. Like as you go on, you kind of want the nicer things. But like you say, you don't need that to get started by any means.
No, and I think we're sounding pretty good here.
Heck yeah, we are. I love this. I love this microphone. In fact, anytime I get to talk into this microphone is a good day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've got a pretty good mic here too.
Oh yeah, you do. We sound great, if I do say so myself.
Oh yes. 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 Now, yeah. Now, was it sort of as far as sort of, it's kind of the question when we talk broadcasting. And do you sort of feel that like, do you wish in an ideal world that there were more opportunities for people to kind of get their feet wet in mainstream broadcasting? For example, do you still wish there were those overnight shifts still available or around?
That's a really good question. And I think in my early days, I thought about getting into traditional radio or traditional broadcasting. I've always had this dream of being on the evening news, being a news presenter. And for much of my life that seemed pretty lofty. And if I'm being completely honest, I think really only recently now, because of people like you and me, you and I, we are in a way forging the way ahead, and people like you and I and the other people across AMI and even across social media now, I think we are opening up people's minds because we're out here doing it and we're seizing the opportunities that we have. Because I'm someone that for many years, I didn't think that this was possible. To be totally honest, I had to prove it to myself, and I had to have other people who believed it was possible help me address the real barriers. There are real access barriers, and a huge part of it, you may or may not agree, is other people's perceptions. I'll give one quick example. A couple of years ago, I got to do a live special for the Low Vision Moments podcast for International Albinism Awareness Day. So this was to be live with video. We had a bunch of guests joining us through Zoom. And so this was going to be broadcast live. And I had to figure out, in a traditional setup, we were in a TV studio, we would have some kind of prompter, right? We would have some kind of monitor that would guide me through the questions, guide me through the flow of the show. It's an hour-long show. And as you know, you can't do all of that by memory. And so there was a lot of problems. That's one example where I surprised myself, in that we were able to find a monitor large enough and to bring it close enough and increase the font and increase the contrast, and I was able to control it remotely with my iPad, and also have my iPad there in case I wasn't able to make something out on the monitor. So just as one example, I had assumed I can't do the news thing, I can't do the broadcast thing, because I can't see a monitor from far away. I wouldn't be able to see cue cards back in the day to be on that type of in that type of environment. And so I think you and I and the other people out here doing it, we're increasing those opportunities. And I do wish to answer your question, to, in a long-winded way, bring it back to your question.
I love it. I love this.
I think I really wish there were more opportunities, because I'm pushing 40 here, man. And there's so much that I still want to do yet. And I'm just now coming around to myself believing that all of these things are possible. And there are still real, very tangible physical and environmental and attitudinal barriers to be addressed.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. I'm just a few years younger than you are, so I think we're okay.
You know how old I know. I am pushing 40.
Yeah. No, well, you just mentioned it.
Pushing it.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. But,
no, it's okay. Yeah,
soon.
I'm 36, but
And so, have you had that experience too? Like in the beginning, were you kind of like, I don't know if this is doable, but then you do it and you problem solve it. I've been trying to get away from calling them problem solving and calling it like it's an equation. We're just solving an equation here because there's a way to do this.
Honestly, no, because I knew what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. So I always knew what it was and how it was I wanted to do it. So essentially what ended up, so then I said, if I can just sit behind the mic and just kind of have those conversations on things that are of interest to me, why not just, why not just do it?
I love how you've broken it down to such a bare bones thing for me. That is the type of thing that someone like me needs to hear, and maybe other people. And I think part of it for me, Ali, is I kind of still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, because I'm someone who wants to try everything and do all of the things. And I think I have a hard time choosing. And then in the back of my mind, I'm often like, well, someone else is doing that. Like, what business do I have trying out a podcast? And then you get I got this opportunity from AMI, for example, when they finally came to me and said, hey, we're looking to get into podcasting. That was really the sort of, I always call it a kick in the pants, but in the nicest way. Like, that was the boost that I needed to put the podcast idea really into action.
So you had a lot of fun with the Low Vision Moments podcast.
I had too much fun. We had way too much fun on that podcast.
So are you looking to continue that? Like, are you on like maybe on your own? Like maybe different name, maybe different something?
people keep asking me this question, and my answer keeps evolving. And part of that is because AMI, technically, the Low Vision Moments podcast was an AMI podcast. It was put on hiatus, quote unquote, on a long-term hiatus back in September of 2024. So we're coming up on a year now that it has been on hiatus. I sadly don't have faith that it's coming back in that reincarnation with AMI. So I think I got the itch, Ali. I've really got the itch to get back into podcasting. The acting has been fun. I've been busy doing that, but I really miss the podcasting and like you, I'm developing, I think, this vision of more specifically what I want to do, and I'm really driven to do it. So I'm dancing around the answer, but I
that's
am
okay.
I am plotting. I am plotting. I am plotting something. I don't have an exact timeline, but I'd really like to. I want to do something similar to Low Vision Moments, and it's going to be really similar. It's going to have a different name, and I'm not going to say the name yet, but I'm hoping by 2026 we're going to have a new version of a podcast that I will be the host of, and I hope to have it monthly with a guest and just keep raising awareness and building community. That's something that Low Vision Moments did that I didn't know would be such a big part of it. It is all these people coming to me and parents of kids with albinism and with sight loss. These parents were listening to the show and coming to me and relating in a way that they hadn't related to this type of content before. So, it's awareness and it's storytelling about life with blindness and albinism and low vision, but it's that magic ingredient of humor and comedy that I want to bring back that I think is missing in the world.
There you go. So how about this? How about once everything is official? How about would you enjoy the opportunity to share that with our listeners here?
Are you kidding? You'll be the first to know, Allie.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, perfect. Why no? Yes. More than yes. I would honestly, yeah, no, we would love to, once all that kind of is finalized, love to, have you back on the show to talk about your what sort of idea you have for it, where you want to go with it. Not where you want to go with it, but maybe direction of topics that you like to maybe discuss on it.
I think that'd be great, and I think something that I would love to do is open up the conversations more with the Low Vision Moments podcast. It was more. We were really theme driven for a long time. I would pick a theme and we would kind of stick to each theme, things that are fashion related, in the low vision and blind world. Let's find funny moments with a theme. And I think I'd like to open it up a little bit more because that's what I found to be most valuable in a lot of those conversations is when we would wander off topic and get into, just get into territory where, again, I don't find that we hear necessarily these frank conversations about blindness and how frustrating it can be, and then working with that the best that you can to have a good life and have fun.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I know, exactly. And the other thing I think is, I think kind of we mentioned there earlier that you and I are the ones, like, it's us who are sort of innovating the industry in different ways, in new ways or different ways. And I think part of that, I feel, and I've said this before on the show, that what's also important for anybody who's still in the industry or hasn't really been using the tools. One of the tools that I think is very, say what anybody wants about social media, but it's an important piece in the world, in broadcasting today. And also, one of the most important ones is you have to be, like, I always say this, but like you have to be on LinkedIn because that is a very good place now where you're going to get some engagement. You're going to get that, and you've even got some stuff, like people even from the industry are posting stuff there.
You make some really, really good points. And I have to be totally honest. If it weren't for social media and some of the groups I've been able to be involved with that bring people in the blind and low vision and albinism communities together, that's a source of building me up and building up my confidence to be able to do these things. Because when you witness yourself represented and you are talking to people who get it and witnessing them doing really cool things that you maybe would like to do, it makes it seem that much more possible. Like, forget about the practical applications when it comes to getting the word out and learning about, best practices and new tech and new standards.
Yep.
When it comes to all of those things, obviously that's super practical. But what they say in terms of, who is really helpful and really key to success. It's because of other people that I have found the success I found so far in media and broadcasting. It's other people that have really helped.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of LinkedIn, there's even there's the LinkedIn for journalists group. Like if you're still there, kind of join that as for those that aren't part of that. Join that as well because you'll get some timely you'll get some insights there. Like, I think people should, like, my point is that, like, they have to take advantage. It doesn't matter whether they've been in the industry for a while. It doesn't matter. Like, you have to sort of take advantage and continue to evolve it.
And what you're saying, I think I think what you're saying to encapsulate it all is there's work involved. You've got to do the legwork. You've got to do your research.
Yep.
But it's all worth it, and it's all for it's all for the sake of your own success and for what it is you're trying to achieve. I wouldn't know half the people I know in the industry if it wasn't for, again, just for networking.
Exactly.
For participating in conversations.
And you know what? All the platforms, whether it's LinkedIn, X, same thing.
I always say I'm not witty enough for X, formerly Twitter, but I'm with you. I wouldn't diminish the importance of social media at all.
I don't like it myself. I don't like X too much myself. But the thing is that I have to be there and engage there because that's where media hangs out.
You've got it. And like I said, that's part of the work that you have to put in. You have to put in the time, put in the work to get the results. So even if it's something you're not a fan of, I struggle with LinkedIn. I know that it's important, but it's like another it's like another thing on the list that I have to put on my
I get it.
That if I didn't put it on my to-do list, I wouldn't do it. It's not natural to me. Instagram, Facebook, I check those all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see I'm not much of an Instagram guy, but
I enjoy Instagram because I enjoy pretty things. That's how I originally got on there, is like when it was all about photography and just like lots of color. Because with my vision, I really look to color for excitement in my life, and being able to zoom in on people's photography, that was so novel to me. But Instagram has so evolved into it's like a marketplace. It's a place to do business now.
Yep. And I think that's the difference. I think that's the difference because you have some vision and I can't see at all. I think that's the biggest difference.
Oh, certainly. I mean, that makes sense, right? Why would you access something that is such a visual platform, right? If it's not only to maybe do business and get the word out about what you're doing, right? And make those connections. So I'm hearing you, maybe I should get back on X and try to be more witty. Yes.
And absolutely. Now, I I think you are already. I think they can find you there on Instagram, and as well as on. I think you're still on X. I think, aren't you?
If I am, I'm not active, but I'm certainly on Instagram. I'm there under Uber Blonde 4, UberBlonde, and the number 4. I'm pretty active on there.
And of course, LinkedIn, Facebook as well.
You got it. I'm everywhere.
Yeah, and of course, if you have a hard time finding Jenny, just you can reach out to me, and I'll get you in touch. Well, actually, it'll all be up in the show notes on the website, so you can check it out there. You can find all the information, all the relevant information there, as well.
I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to connect. The more, the merrier.
Absolutely, and you know what? I'm looking forward to having you back again real soon. We got to do a part 2 in the future, Jenny.
I think so. This is my problem. I like to talk way too much, and I eat up all the time.
Oh no, that's okay. We like to talk. Well, that's it. You know what? You know I'm a listener.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's
Yeah.
great. So yeah, I'd love to come back again.
Yeah, let's do something. And of course, and I'll be back later. Actually, later this afternoon, we're going to have a chat on more broadcasting and technology when Matt Kundle stops by again, host of the Sound Off podcast. So stick around for that. And of course, these will all be up on the website and podcasting platforms.
Thank you so much for listening and/or watching Broadcast Map. To learn more about the show, please visit broadcastmap.ca. While you're there, subscribe to the newsletter so you never miss an update. Besides, it's free. Enter your email address and hit subscribe right on the homepage and at the bottom of all Broadcast Map posts.
Okay, we're just going to stop the recordings here. Just hang tight for just a couple seconds.